Hello and welcome to day 4 of the Eat Yourself Happy Challenge. Today I'm going to be speaking about inflammation and the role that inflammation has to play in mental health conditions and how to control inflammation or how to get that inflammation under control within the body, and also why we're experiencing or seeing rates of high inflammation in the world these days. So inflammation is a normal response within the body. It's activated by the immune system. So it's a normal response of the immune system, normally to invading pathogens. So if pathogens enter into the blood and the white blood cells, the immune system doesn't recognize that cell and launches an immune response to it. Often those particles coming into the body or into the blood that the blood doesn't realize comes from a leaky gut. That's one potential way. Another potential way is if you cut yourself, immune cells come to the area to try and block it and fight off any infection that might be present at the surface. So what happens in inflammation is the body releases this inflammatory response. But once that inflammatory response has been released, the body actually needs to calm that inflammation down and reduce the inflammation, because we don't need to remain in a chronic inflammatory state. What we need for the body to activate that anti-inflammatory response is a molecule called omega-3. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid, which means that we need to be getting it from our diet, because we don't get omega-3, we can't make omega-3 within the body. So we need to be getting it in through the diet. But the problem these days is that our diets are much higher in the pro-inflammatory molecule, omega-6, than they are in the anti-inflammatory molecule, omega-3, because we're eating foods that have been refined and processed. And in that processing of foods, they often add omega-6 rich oils such as soya or corn or sunflower or rapeseed oil. All of these seed oils are much higher in omega-6 than omega-3. But why is inflammation important when it comes to mental health conditions? And the reason is if we are inflamed, then the serotonin in the brain cannot bind to the serotonin receptors and therefore do its job. So we're not having that effect of serotonin within the brain, and that is what's contributing to that depression and or anxiety picture. So what can we do about our inflammation and how can we get it under control? This is one area where I always recommend a supplement. And the reason is because the main source of omega-3 in our diets is from oily fish. And here we can think about the acronym SMASH. So we're thinking salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. And these fish, unfortunately, also have high levels of mercury in them. So if you were eating oily fish every day, which is probably what we need, then you will start to build up those heavy metals in the body, and that can lead to many other health conditions. So this is one area where I do supplement, and I'll happily share the supplement that I use within the email today. I'm sure you've seen it if you opened the email first. What you can also do is, if you do suffer from depression and or anxiety, you can measure your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. So the correct ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 is actually about 2:1. But unfortunately, our diets these days are so much higher in omega-6, we have more of a 30:1 omega-6 to omega-3, whereas what you're wanting is more of a 2:1 omega-6 to omega-3. So you can test and you can measure your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, and I highly recommend that as well. And again, I'll pop a link in today's email where you can find out more about testing your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio to find out if you are in a pro-inflammatory state rather than being in that anti-inflammatory state. I hope you found this useful. Today I'll be sharing a fish recipe because Even though it does have small amounts of mercury, it is still safe to eat oily fish at least 3 times a week. And we should be including these foods in our diet as well, because oily fish is also loaded with B vitamins, and B vitamins are so important and imperative for creating our neurotransmitters. So very important to have them in our diet. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe, and I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Do shout out if you have any questions, either on the Facebook group or in an email. I'd love to answer them. Bye for now.